And we're back with another episode of Lakers Latest. I'm Gerald Glassford, the host of the Lakers Latest podcast, part of the Fan Arc Network. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell down below so you can be notified when the latest Lakers Latest comes right to you on YouTube. And speaking of course, YouTube, my friends at the Fan Arc Network have their own great channel with a ton of shows waiting for you right there. So after you're done with me, hop on over there by typing in Fan Arc on a YouTube search. It comes right up, and you are set to go right there with the Fan Arc Network on YouTube. Also, as well, for my audio listeners, want to go ahead and give them a big shout out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or maybe even Amazon or wherever you go ahead and get your audio podcast. Give you big guys a big shout out there. Make sure you follow the show. Make sure you like the episodes and make sure you give us that 5-star review as well. And a big shout out to Kalshi who's sponsoring this video. I will have my Kalshi Gerald Glassford pick of the week coming up here on the Kalshi portion of this video. Well, as we continue our breakdown of the current Lakers roster, I guess we have to come to one of the more divisive individuals as far as fans' opinions, and that is Jared Vanderbilt. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that kind of like what Jared Vanderbilt does, and there's a lot of people that probably not the biggest fans of Jared Vanderbilt's game. I can just tell you what I see and what I've seen since he was traded from, well, it was Minnesota, but then it became Utah and then became the Lakers. And I will just say this, when it comes to what we saw with Jared Vanderbilt, it started out really well. As a high level defender, good rebounder, energy guy that could really give you a lot. And then we saw in the Western Conference Finals the year he was traded, and the Lakers got to that plateau and again faced off against Denver. Didn't look so good. The cracks started to show because his offensive game was still not up to par at that point in time. And he just wasn't fighting through screens. I know that was a big issue as well, and just played himself off the floor at that time. But again, we still had faith that he could go ahead and improve his game. But over the course of the following seasons, I've not seen a whole lot to justify that. And upon his signing of a contract extension, he proceeded to go ahead and have double foot surgery, which didn't help matters as well. And I just don't think he's ever had the kind of zip in his step since then, as far as I'm concerned. It's looked a little bit better this season. Last season, you could really see the effects of what you saw with his, double foot surgery season. A little bit more of that quickness back, but still, from what I saw as a one-on-one defender, it's not what he once was. As a team defender, he's still good, be providing energy. He can get his hands in there as far as passing lanes, get those steals. Does still get rebounds, but his offensive game has not improved, and that has caused JJ to have him out of the rotation at times on multiple times this season. And that's a problem. That's a problem for someone who is still owed $25 million dollars in the next couple of seasons moving forward. And that is a big problem indeed. So I can just say, what we call on my other channel, Vando Hill. You are on or you are off of Vando Hill. And I still know some people that defend Jared Vanderbilt and are on Vando Hill. I'm not one of those, and I haven't been for quite some time. These one-way players, basically, when it comes down to it, they have to be so good that one way, such a high-level defender. And I know people love to throw out those defensive rating stats and things of that nature, but you see that on the floor. You see it on the floor that he is just not that high level of defender. You could throw analytics at me all day long, but the body of proof when you watch it with your eyes and you still see him get beat on occasion. But the fact is also as well, he cannot give you anything offensively. It's just for what you pay for right now. It's just not a good value. But the problem is, what do you do at this point? He still has $25 million dollars left on his deal if he decides to opt into the final year on his contract. So do you think it's time to move on from Jared Vanderbilt? I have said that for quite some time that I think it has been time. But there's also the fact that if you try to move on from him, most likely, since it's probably viewed around the league as a negative value contract, you would probably have to attach something with it. Similar to what Dalton Connect, I was talking to Tough the other day in the comments, and he wanted to know about Dalton Connect. And you probably have to attach something with that one too, because again, those are negative value contracts as far as it's concerned. So, with that said, what are your thoughts? Are you on or are you off of Vando Hill? Again, he has been out of JJ's rotation multiple times this past season. If you bring him back in the mix next season, that's a likelihood as well, because that offensive game just has not improved. And I just finished doing a live show on my other channel where we talked about Adu Thiero. We actually talked about all the different players on the team. And when it came to Adu Thiero, I said he needs to improve his offensive game dramatically, because if he doesn't, we are going to see a repeat of Jared Vanderbilt, albeit a much less costly one. But still, it's something where you have to have players that are able to affect positively the game on both ends of the floor. And right now, Jared Vanderbilt has not done that for quite some time. There's, quite often we have talked about 4-on-5 with him. His best moments were when he was out of the dunker spot before, I believe, an injury happened to him. For about a 2-week period, he was actually pretty effective in the dunker spot. The Lakers were utilizing him on lobs, things of that nature. He was getting offensive rebounds. And then he got hurt, and then he's been sporadically used in that fashion ever since. Mainly used on the perimeter, taking ill-advised three-pointers. Exactly what the other teams on the other defensive side of the ball, what they want is Jared Vanderbilt shooting jumpers. And when that happens, that does not lead often to great success. So, your thoughts out there on Jared Vanderbilt? Are you on or off Vando Hill? Is it time to move on from Jared Vanderbilt? Let me know your thoughts below, and if what it will take to go ahead and move off of Jared Vanderbilt, if you are inclined to go ahead and say it's time to move on from there. But I also wanted to go ahead and get back into the NBA draft a little bit with the Lakers at number 25. I did mention the other day on the 27th, that was the deadline for college attendees, kids from college, to decide whether or not they want to stay in draft or return to college. Now, if you're an international player, like we talked about with Luigi Swigo, for instance, in Italy, Kareem Lopez, I believe, is also considered an international prospect. You have until the 13th. And with Luigi Swigo, I think it comes down to the point where I believe he's thought of as an individual that has said that he has to be picked in the top 20 or else he's going to a American university. So that might be doubtful as well for the Lakers to see if they have him available at that point in time. But with that said, there are players still in and around where the Lakers are picking that are going to be effective. It did not affect the Lakers too much as far as the options, I don't think, unless Tony Bennett, the draft advisor to Rob Pelinka, is saying otherwise. Here were the top 5 or 6 that might have affected that type of deal. Although most of these guys I'm talking about were thought of in most NBA circles as second round picks, but or high second round picks at the best. A couple were thought of in a first round realm, as we've talked about on some of the couple of these guys, but just wanted to let you know that Amari Allen, Tyler Tanner, Tundre Yusufu, Milan Momčović, just out of Iowa State. The guy can shoot. I just got to say his name better. Momlevic. There you go. That's a good try right there. Malachi Moreno, Ruben Chinielu. Those were probably the top 6 that were, of guys thought of that have decided to go back into the portal, whether it's a transfer portal or back into college at this point in time. Didn't affect the Lakers too much from where they're picking. Maybe if they were interested in Amari Allen or Malachi Moreno or Yusufu, I think I could see one of those guys being of interest to the Lakers. Momlovic, I think, was probably maybe a second rounder still at best, even though he's the best shooter in college. He's going to be paid buku bucks to go back to college, but I think that it doesn't affect the Lakers too much, and I will still go ahead and try to throw out some prospects at you guys in the coming days that might still be available where the Lakers are at. So be prepared to go ahead and see in the coming days more draft prospects coming up right here for you here on the Lakers' latest show. So thank you so much for watching, but it is time now to go ahead to my friends at Kalshi, because it's the playoffs for both the NHL and, of course, also as well the NBA, and it's the most electric time in both those sports. On Kalshi, you could trade every single playoff game, every series, the conference finals, and the NBA championship, or the Stanley Cup as well. Also wanted to go ahead and give a big shout out to Kalshi because they cover things like what's trending, elections, politics, sports, culture, crypto, commodities, the climate, economics, what's being mentioned out there, finance, and tech and science. My pick of the week, the one that everybody keeps an eye on, at least the one I do a week, I am going all out based off of what we saw on Thursday in Game 6. Going all out. I know that Oklahoma City plays a lot better, and I would not be surprised at all in the least. I mean, look, it's almost a 60-40 split that Oklahoma City is being thought of, especially after what we saw in Game 5. OKC is at home. They do look pretty good, but we'll see what happens. Again, Jay Will did try to come back, but struggled through it, but maybe that was just a warm-up for what we'll see on Saturday. Probably will be feeling a lot better playing in front of the home crowd, but I am going to go with Game 7, San Antonio. They've been feisty. They showed it on Thursday. It was a great performance from them. Those young kids came back, and that was without De'Aaron Fox, who struggled. So I'm going to go with San Antonio. And if you want the underdog, as far as that's concerned, go ahead and trade up on Kalshi under Game 7, San Antonio versus OKC. And if you put $100 into it, the payout is $233 on that. And I've been talking to my friend Stefan Piscano from the Stefan Piscano podcast, who is a regular user for Kalshi. And he says San Antonio's not been helping him a whole lot of Kalshi, but he still has that big win for the Lakers as far as it's concerned, winning that round in Houston. So it's right there for you. It's not a, rock solid, look at the house as far as maybe cash in on everything to go ahead and put on that. No, by no means no. That's up to you. If you want to go ahead and you're interested in doing that stuff, that's up to you. But, Kalshi, you might want to take a look at it because, again, if you're into underdogs, it's there for you for San Antonio. And if you get a premier game from Victor Wembanyama, you never know. You never know, but Wemby does have to show up, and at least two of their guards have to show up. Two of those three guards have to show as well. And Devin Vassell, I didn't know up until really the past couple series that he was that elite of a defender, or because he didn't play defense like this for years at that level. But as a guy coming out for the help side defender, blocking shots, you got to watch out for him, indeed, because that's something that. And what if he goes off for some threes right there? And Keldon Johnson comes off the bench, or Dylan Harper. Like I said, Dylan Harper looked fantastic today. On Thursday. So, yeah, wait and see. You never know. Just wanted to let you know. It's my pick of the week for Kalshi right there. So I'm just telling you why, because there's so many different things to do on Kalshi and so many different things to look at on Kalshi, because Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live marketplace, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, which it could on this particular one, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time now, download the Kalshi app and use the code FANARCBASKETBALL. All one word, FANARCBASKETBALL, to get $10 when you trade $10. That's right. Download the app, take a look at it. It's really a good thing right there for you when you download it. Kalshi. Look for it on the App Store. On the App Store. That is Kalshi. Kalshi. Because of Kalshi, you can trade on anything. All right, before we head out, I do want to give you an update on that game. I sort of, kind of, already gave it away, but again, an impressive blowout victory for the San Antonio Spurs. They came to play. They came to play in Game 6. They got the response they needed, and I just wish they could bottle that up and take that to OKC because I do want to. I do want a little bit of payback for the smirks against the Lakers and the smirks that they had earlier in the series. But, you got to give a hand to OKC. The depth and the talent and how they play in OKC is really tough. And we will wait and see. But in Game 6, Wemby showed up. 28 points, 10 rebounds, 3 block shots. You will need that type of game and more from Victor Wembanyama on Saturday, in my opinion. Dylan Harper, 18 points, really came off the bench and did well. 17 for Stephon Castle. Like I said, Devin Vassell really on the defensive end with 2 block shots, but really as a help defender, he's been doing really good. But the key was, and this is something that hasn't happened the whole series, is when Wembanyama went out in the third quarter and Luke Cornett came in. They have lost his minutes every single game. And that they said, nope, today you're not going to lose these minutes, Luke Cornett. So they paired him up with Dylan Harper, and Dylan Harper just started to go off. And they keyed a 20-0 run. Wemby came back for part of it, but it was mainly without Victor Wembanyama and with SGA on the floor for most of it as well. In the third quarter, that sealed the deal. That was it. That was the game over right there. Game 7 match in that third quarter when they outscored them 32-13. I heard it was the lowest quarter of the season for OKC, and it came at one of the worst times. But yeah, San Antonio with the big victory, 118-91. Now it goes to OKC for Game 7. And this is why you battle all season, the regular season. And OKC pulled it out as far as, 2-game difference between them and San Antonio. And this is why you do it, is so you can get Game 7 on your home floor. And we've seen how well they do on their home floor in Game 7s. But can San Antonio shake it up? Told you my thoughts on Kalshi, but again, OKC is rightly and deservedly the favorite in this game, and we will see if San Antonio can shake things up. But I will go ahead and prep you for it on tomorrow's show. We'll wait and see what happens there. But again, looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with Game 7 on Saturday. But before we head out, I've got one last comment from my good friend, Mr. Craig. Mr. Craig, great to have you always watching. And everybody, I just cannot thank you enough for all the comments this week. We had a lot of great comments this week, and keep them coming. Would love to hear your thoughts. Craig said, Lakers need outside shooting. Sign both Rui and Luke back. I don't know. Of the two, if you ask me which one I would commit to more, I would probably say I would commit to Rui more because of when he shoots best, which is in the playoffs, because he's the all-time playoff leading three-point shooter. So I'd say, and he's a little bit more versatile, and he's not as bad on defense as Luke Kennard is. So I probably would go Rui if I had to sign one, but I know it's going to cost me. I really think Rui is going to be one of the most marketable and desired free agents out there this summer, and he might be gotten on an overpay. I'm just going to put that to you guys now because of the fact of when he shoots the best. Yes, 40 to 42% during the season is great, but the fact is that he's shooting on good volume over 50% in the playoffs. That should not be underestimated, and people are going to point to that, and teams that need shooting in the playoffs are going to look at that stat indeed and probably give it a look. And I expect I don't want to say a bidding war per se, but I expect some interest in the way of Rui. And I'm not sure that the Lakers will bid up that high for. With Luke, again, during the season, it's going to look fine. He's going to get shoot close to 45 to 50% every single season. But as we see every time in the playoffs, when he was with Memphis, other teams, defensively, it's just hard to keep him out there, and that's the problem. So I would not want to spend more than what he's making right now, $10 million for him. I would probably say 7 to 10 would probably be as high as I go for Luke Kennard because of the limitations, because you cannot play him extensively in the postseason, and I'll leave it at that. But I wouldn't be bad on it. I wouldn't be mad on it. I'd say, I would like to see both signed coming off the bench as far as it's concerned. But I have a feeling we're not going to stay with Rui. I just have that thing down below in the gut that says, you know what? I think Rui is not long for the Lakers. I think he is probably going to be looked at by a few teams in free agency, and I'm not sure that the Lakers will have enough patience to sign him. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see indeed. But great comments by Craig all week. Thank you so much to everyone who provided so many great comments during the course of the week. But if you have comments, keep them coming. What are your thoughts? Are you on Vando Hill? Are you not on Vando Hill? As far as the draft update, as far as the guys who, was there anyone you were looking at? Amari Allen? Were you looking at Malachi Moreno? Were you looking at anyone else as that went back to college? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Game 7 coming up? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that because I will have another preview coming up on tomorrow's show. And then, of course, your thoughts. Sign Rui? Sign Luke? And how much? Let us know in the comments below as well. Well, great having you here. Thanks so much again for joining us. I will be back tomorrow with more Lakers thoughts, any Lakers news, and of course, updates on what's going on with the NBA and more. I know that the lottery incentive was passed, and maybe I'll discuss that a little bit more on tomorrow's update. Kind of let that one fester a little bit. So we'll discuss that 3-2-1 deal a little bit more here on tomorrow's show if we need to. If we have the space and time, I'll be glad to do that as well. So again, thanks so much again for joining me. Appreciate it. Big shout out to FanArc Network. A big shout out to Kalshi for sponsoring this video. Please go ahead and hit up Kalshi at kalshi.com, but it's easier if you download the app. And when you sign up, FanArc Basketball, all one word, to get $10 when you trade $10 on Kalshi. Thanks so much again for joining me, and I'll be here tomorrow talking Lakers basketball, NBA basketball, and more right here at Lakers Latest. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a great day.